Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. Here we are with episode 93. Today's very special guest is Daryl Black Eagle Jamieson. Black Eagle is the lead singer, I guess you could say. Leader, I guess maybe is more appropriate, of the group Eastern Medicine Singers, which makes up a portion of the other group Medicine Singers, which is the album that I am discussing tonight, which is, a project of my guest, Daryl Black Eagle Jamieson, and members of his tribe, I guess I could say. I'm actually not 100% sure on the wordage I'm supposed to be using here. Like it's a little unclear to me. But all the more reason to have Black Eagle on the show today. It was a little different. It's a little weird. So, considering what this music is, what Medicine Singers music is, it's kind of a avant-garde, maybe slightly jazzy interpretation, or at least like symbiosis with traditional Native American music. It's incredibly compelling. It's just really, really beautiful music for a number of reasons. And I think in our discussion, you'll probably kind of hear about some of those things and kind of put that together yourself. But if you don't know this, I mean, by all means, please really go listen to it. I will provide links for, obviously, the vinyl, if you want to purchase the vinyl, because it's beautiful. It's from Joyful Noise and Stone Tapes. It's a beautiful oxblood red. It's just great. It's an absolutely fantastic packaging. It's just a beautiful record. It sounds great, and it's beautiful music. So we discuss kind of all of those things, but so it's a little different today because I'm not discussing what influenced Black Eagle to, make music like this and what he does with Eastern Medicine Singers, which is the more traditional Native American versions or kind of style of music, which, basically the Eastern Medicine Singers are part of this Medicine Singers group. I think that was kind of the focus of this conversation. Was I thought it was hard to try to ask Black Eagle, like, well, what music helps influence what this is? Because it's not modern. Any modern music isn't going to influence what this is. I mean, maybe to a degree, but I mean, essentially, from what I learned from watching that documentary Rumble, which is currently on Netflix, which I happened to catch before I saw Medicine Singers, which is coincidental. All modern mainstream music essentially derives from traditional folklore music, which in part, most of that is from Native Americans. So it's a different conversation in that sense because this is more closely knit to the tradition, though it takes some aspects of current modern music and kind of turns it around. I think, as I say to Black Eagle in our discussion, it's like you're taking the power back, kind of in a sense. So compelling conversation, I thought. I mean, like, I get a little nervous about these things. I don't like to dance on the line of like social and political conversations and discussions like that, because I'm just not the type of person to do that. I don't feel knowledgeable or kind of like educated enough to do those things, but I do feel like it's a compelling conversation to have nonetheless. So that's why I had him on the show today. So we're discussing this album as opposed to another album, and I hope you really like it. Honestly, go listen to this, please. Purchase it too if you can, because it's great. Honestly, it's fucking great music. Go listen to it yourself and be your own judge. If they are playing anytime near you, doesn't look like they're doing any kind of major extensive touring right now, but they will have some shows coming up. I highly encourage you to go see it. They're on Instagram and all that stuff too, so by all means follow them and on social medias, and that way you can be updated on what they're doing when. But yeah, get this. It's good for you, good for the soul. Seriously, medicine. It's in the title. It really is. Thank you very much, folks, for tuning in. If you like this show, all that we ask is that you please do all the things you do with the internet. Like, share, comment, subscribe, rate, review, all of those things. It really helps us out, and we greatly appreciate it. If you care to help us out on a more monetary fashion, you can always go to our website, psychicstatic.net. Any purchase you make there helps fund this thing, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much, folks. Enjoy.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you, man?
Not bad, not bad. A little crazy day, but I'm sorry I'm running a little late.
That's okay. These things happen to me too, you know?
Things happen.
Yeah, they do. Hey, that's okay, man. I'm flexible. I can make things work out, so it's all right.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, thank you for joining me. Daryl Black Eagle Jamieson, correct?
Yes, yep.
And so do I just call you Daryl? Is that cool? Is that
You
how
call
you
me
go?
Black Eagle, you can call me Daryl. Yeah, I mean everybody called me Black Eagle, you know.
Do they like on a
Yeah,
regular basis, like just kind of like everyday kind of context?
yeah, yeah.
Black Eagle. All right.
Yep.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about that? I mean, like, let's just get right into this. And typically I kind of ask people, like, where did you grow up? Like, well, what was your life like as a young person?
My life was great as a young person, to be honest with you. I had probably had the best life ever. I grew up in a rural town called Shrewsbury in Massachusetts, which
Okay.
is it's outside of Worcester. At the time, it was a small town of like 10,000 people, and lots of woods, lots of room to be a kid and be a young man, and you know, we owned a house and we had everything. I mean, we had a pool, we all had cars. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I went to a great school, Shrewsbury High School, and the Shrewsbury school system, and I had a great upbringing, well rounded, because back in those days, we had everything. You know, we had theater, we had music, we had, the trade arts and everything. So I got to learn a lot of different things, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So,
what were you interested in high school?
so my thing in high school was science. I really liked science, environmental science. I kind of wanted to be originally. I wanted to be a game warden, and I wanted to live in the North Woods, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so, I told my father, I said, "Well, Dad," I says, here's the thing. I don't want to put, my education on you because you know how proud I am of being my own man. I said, so I'm gonna join the United States Air Force. You know,
Mm. Yeah.
I I got a high ASVAB, so I ended up taking environmental science in the Air Force, and I became an environmental support specialist with actually a special team that was called Prime Beef, and we went anywhere in the world in 48 hours. And
Really?
yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah.
crazy.
So we would do what they call bare base. We go in from trees to building a base in overnight, 48 hours, whatever we had to do. And my job was to maintain water waste treatment, solid waste disposal. And as a team member of Prime Beef, of course, we had expedience methods, EOD, building flight lines, fortifying them, and having a fight if we had to. So it was pretty
Really?
cool job. Yeah.
So was there any combat that you had
No,
to
I was
partake?
in. Luckily, I was in during the time when we didn't have any like major wars. The only thing that was going on at that time, I think, was like, we had operations going on in Panama. Um, you see, there was Grenada, and there was some stuff going on in the Middle East at the time. That's when they
Yeah.
they blew the barracks up. The Marine barracks in
Okay.
Lebanon, if you remember that.
Not really. I mean, what years was that?
That was like in the 80s, I believe.
Oh, see, I was a kid. I
Yeah,
was born in 80, so I wasn't
yeah,
paying
yeah,
attention.
yeah. You were you were privy to that, right?
No, probably not.
Yeah. So
Um,
it was a more like they called it the Cold War because we were always at tension with everybody, and
Right, right. Okay, I remember that, but I mean, I don't remember any specific like details of any kind of like conflicts or combat happening in those years.
yeah,
But I remember it was tense.
very tense. I mean, we went one time. We had to go to England to beef up the airstrips over there, which we would do. My team would go in and we would build these bomber abutments over there, so that if somebody blew up the airfield, it wouldn't frag all the planes. It would
Hmm.
deflect it from getting all the planes and stuff. And that was kind of like a big operation mission for my unit to do that. So
Yeah. Wow.
got to go over there because there was a lot of stuff going on in Belfast, and issues between the UK and stuff and the people that live there. So
Yeah. I'm sure there were plenty of issues everywhere. Anywhere to go and help,
anywhere,
really.
anywhere, yeah. So you never know what you're gonna do.
Right. Well, thank you for your service. I mean, I appreciate that, obviously, as an American. I was curious. I remember seeing in like some of your bio as I was doing some research about you that you had joined the Air Force, and I thought that was a little strange. I mean, not necessarily um, because it's not noble to join the service, but because of your heritage being a Native American. Um, what was that like to join the force, the United States, any portion of the United States, you know, um, military
Well, I mean,
service?
in the '70s, still, a tough time for minorities and stuff.
Yeah.
Joining the military, but I mean, I actually did well in the Air Force. I gained rank really fast and stuff, and it was hard at first, but you know, I was always one of those because my father was an army guy, Korean War vet, so I
Hmm.
was used to that kind of tough growing up because my father was tough, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
So I just I overcame everything, every obstacle that came at me, I overcame, and I just gritted my teeth and got dirty and did whatever I had to do, and I did like the job. It was an intense job. I mean, when you're supplying water in the field for troops and everything, that's an important job because nothing can exist without that. You know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we would go in the field and we had these portable water treatment what they call them erdilators, and they actually would fly them in. That was the mission. They'd drop them, and then we'd go in and we'd set these up at a remote location, and we would treat water anywhere in the world and make it potable for drinking and stuff. So
Mm.
I mean, it was a important job, and it was highly technical and everything, and you're responsible for the lives of a lot of people. So you
Right.
know, for me, it was a huge challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I'm sure it was. I mean, and it's very, very, as you're saying, a bit absolutely important. If you don't have water, no one can be there. No one can live there.
exactly, you can't move. So
Cool. Well,
but
no.
it was my part of the environmental thing. So I was happy to do that.
Right. Okay. So what was it like growing up in what was it called again? Where you were?
Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury, right?
Um, I mean, at that time, we were the only minority family in the whole town.
Oh,
You
okay. I
know?
kind of remember what that's like. I'm a minority myself. I'm Bolivian, so I'm
Oh yeah,
Hispanic.
but you know
Yeah,
what I mean. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I was born in '80, but my family growing up in the early '80s, I remember like yeah, we were the only like Hispanic family
yeah,
in the city I grew up in.
and that's a reality.
Right, right. Well,
you
so I
know,
mean, so family life. I mean, like, what was music like for you in the house growing up?
I mean, my parents were like huge with music. I mean, they always played music, and my mother and father loved music so much they took us to like all these different concerts and different like orchestras, and they played music in the house all the time. So,
Yeah. Like what were they playing? Like what do you remember hearing when you were young?
I mean, like when I was first a little kid, I mean, I can remember my mother playing, these songs like Yellow Bird. I don't even remember who it was by, but I always loved that. And then they would play some of the orchestra music. And one of I can remember was called Mantovani. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was a
Mm.
brilliant Italian composer, and he did the soundtrack to the movie The Exodus.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and I used to listen to that, and then of course, big jazz and blues influence. My father and my mother both always were out, going to musical events and everything, especially before we were born, and then after they took us,
Yeah. So they were
and
always like big music buffs.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I mean, I heard music from when I was in the belly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, so now, I invited you onto the show because I wanted, typically what I do is I talk to artists about, specifically one album, uh, that inspired or influenced like what they make, because it's typically musicians.
Yep.
And, um, so you are obviously have been a big music fan of like, kind of like mainstream, well, some mainstream and then some kind of classical music growing up as a kid. But based on what the art that you make, musically speaking, is stymied in traditional Native American music, correct?
Yes, yes. In fact, we started the Eastern Medicine Singers in 2008, and what we were doing was we were teaching kids in a program at the Rhode Island Indian Council, and we used to have them dancing, but they were dancing to people's CDs, and then we decided that it would be good to let them hear their own style of music here in the East, and a couple of us got together and we started drumming and everything,
Hmm.
and the kids loved it, so we just continued doing it. We never had any aspirations of playing anywhere. It was just more or less a convenience and a help to the children that we were teaching and everything. And then, it just kept getting bigger. More people wanted to drum with us and everything. And, I taught them all the language and stuff that I had learned.
Yeah.
And then I just started writing songs, and
Yeah.
translating the language. And I'm not, a fluent speaker by any means, but I had teachers that, taught me the way that the language sounded and everything, so I could put together stuff from the reference books that we had that the native praying Indians had written during the 1600s with the Reverend Eliot. So they translated from our language to the English language. So our language is in that book. So
Okay.
I used a lot of that stuff, and I also had two elders that taught me. The first one was Clinton Wixon, and he was a great guy, full of knowledge and everything. And he really was the one that taught me the way that the language sounded and everything. And he used to talk back and forth with me to get me to speak the language, and he taught me a lot. And then he passed away right after my son was born, and his friend uh, Donald Three Bears Fisher, he um, he helped me with the language as well. He was a teacher of the language, and we used to sit with him,
Yeah.
and he would go he would go over the songs with me and tell me if it sounded right and it was good and everything. And then I put it together. I put the melody together and the song and everything, and then we turned it into an Eastern powwow song.
Oh, okay. So these weren't like tradition. I mean, they're based on traditional songs, correct?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you were kind of making your own interpretation of them.
right, exactly.
Oh,
So
okay.
so I translated our language to make these songs and to make them go with our culture and our traditions. For instance, Eastern War dance. They don't do that out west, the Western
Right.
people and stuff, So you're only gonna hear something like that here in the East. So, you need a language that's gonna speak to the particular dance, which is what I did. I made an Eastern War, and the Eastern War, what it does is it repeats, but each time you repeat fully, you pick up the pace, and that's exactly how the Eastern War goes. So by the fourth time around, you're going as fast as you can because it's a war dance,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
and
Building up momentum.
right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Okay.
or what we call as a pickup,
Yeah.
stuff. So that's kind of what I did, and I created the song. So I'm not, just singing old songs. I'm recreating songs, and basically artistically directing them and put them into context into a song. Yeah, we play some of the
Yeah.
older traditional songs too, absolutely. But our biggest hit has been our own, our own music and
Right.
recreations,
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, I wasn't too familiar with Eastern medicine singers prior to me catching medicine singers performing,
Yeah,
which was totally on a lark. I had no idea you guys were playing in Providence. I just happened to be out with my family,
yeah,
and we were in Providence having dinner. And I remember specifically someone inside the restaurant saying like, "Oh, there's bands playing out back tonight. If you want to go catch them." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure, why not? Like it's
yeah,
that'll be cool." I had no idea what it was, and it turned out it was medicine singers, and it completely like impromptu. I don't know what kind of advertising had been done or whatever that I might have missed, but I was just like, wait, this is happening, and we were there, and just without knowing what you were going to go into, it's just like, and then seeing that performance happening, I was just like, my mind was blown, and I could tell that everyone in my family's minds were blown too.
that's what we wanted.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and that was like, that show. They didn't advertise it good. I spoke with them after, and I said, we usually draw a lot of people, and
Right.
there wasn't a lot of people, and I mean, it was our opening first. It was our first performance after we released the record, and I wanted to be hometown
Hmm.
and put it out there and stuff, but they just didn't do the kind of advertising that we used to, so it didn't draw a huge crowd, but the
Right.
crowd that was there had fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's just like, I mean, I don't think that the music that Medicine Singers does is like, I don't think that there's any possibility that anyone that witnesses it to not kind of come away from it with feeling something,
Yeah,
you know? Because like my family, like my at least my wife and my kids, who are, they're young kids, they're, young teens,
yeah,
are not big music fans, you
really,
know? No, yeah, I mean, it's just weird because like I mean, I grew up kind of feeding them music as much as I could without being pushy.
yeah,
But I'd ask them all the time as a musician, being like, hey, listen, what do you like? What is there anything I can get for you, or is there anything I can kind of show you? Like, or if I show you this, what do you think of this? And it's always just like, eh, So I was just like, okay, so we kind of showed up there at this show impromptu, not knowing what's happening, what's
yeah.
going on, and it resonated with them actually. And my son actually took a photograph with you. He
I
kind of
remember that.
yeah, he pressed me for it. He was just like, it was like, can we meet them? I was just like, yeah, we can meet them. I mean, got to be respectful and kind of
Yeah,
just
yeah,
talk with them if they have some time. But yeah, he was patient enough and got to hang out with you guys for a little bit, which was great.
yeah. I
And
remember
thank you for
that.
that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's all about the kids, anyways. For us, and
Yeah.
we're actually doing a thing right now, here in Woonsocket, the second and fourth Tuesdays at the Mill Race complex, where we're doing like an hour of drumming on the hand drums and stuff and chanting, and it's open to the public.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're actually, letting people come in and learn a little bit about drumming, and if they have a drum, they sing along and drum with us. And then the second hour, is my friend Lee Mangano, who was he was the lead drummer for NRG, who did the Transformers, the soundtrack to Transformers, the very beginning.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
really great guy, and he's teaching kids drumline. So we combined it into like a drum. We call it, drum night, community drum night, drum nation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cool.
adults and kids can come in and drum for
Oh,
nothing.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we just do it for community service.
that sounds awesome, man. I mean, like, please send me an invite. I think my son would
Yeah,
actually love to go and do that.
yeah, bring him down. And that's the thing. I mean, he'll get to, if he signs up with Lee to do the drum line, which all the kids love the drum line. They
I
get on
bet.
a snare with their drumsticks and everything.
Yep.
And he's got a thing going on now where he gives them free sticks so they can go home and practice on something. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And then
Cool.
come back, come back the next time and even play better. So it's
Right. Now,
really
is this
fun.
based in tradition, like traditional music, or is this just like drumming in general, general
Yeah, well, we're
percussion?
we're doing drumming, but we're also doing some of our songs to show people what can be done
Okay.
with the
All right.
drum. You know what I mean? And we
Yeah.
had some people last week. They sang with us. A couple of my tribal members showed up, and the son didn't want to be there. And by the time he got done with the night, he's like, "What? It's over! Oh my god!" He had a great time. I go, "Well, you got to come back next week, next time around." Yeah, I'm coming back. So I mean, that's kind of what we want.
Yeah.
We want to.
Yeah.
We're trying to form a Woonsocket drum line for the kids, so they
Yeah.
can go out to some of the events in Woonsocket and show up and just rattle off and do like a drum line. You know?
Sure. Sure. And I mean, and it like it propagates the culture as well,
Yeah,
which is kind of what you guys want to do, I think, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because people get to see what it's like to see us, and doing our traditional stuff and drumming and everything, and they get to
Hmm.
experience it. Some of the people,
Yeah.
we were just singing chants, and they were just getting into it,
Yeah. Yeah.
having a blast.
I mean, and from what I understand, like, from my own kind of upbringing around this area as well, I'm actually from Rhode Island.
Yeah,
Um, I've never met a native person, but at the same time, like I've known of these things happening, like, kind of tribal councils that would be held and so forth, and
yeah,
obviously traditions uh, that would be held, and I don't think that an outsider would feel like they would be able to participate in something like that.
yeah,
So this is something where it is open to the public, and so people can actually get participate to a degree in some of that culture and kind of get a firsthand feel of it.
yeah, exactly. And we tell them bring a drum. We'll bring something to bang on. And
Yeah.
join in with us. And that's kind of what went on last week. People were jumping in with us. We had some people on djembes that were playing with us. And I
Oh,
mean
cool.
it's just a night to have fun, let loose, and learn.
Right.
And we love doing that.
It sounds like a great idea. I'm so thankful to hear you say that you're doing this. I mean, like I said, I've never known of anything like this happening before. So
Yeah, yeah.
sounds
Not
great.
many people do it. And
Right.
stuff. So we want to, is people going through a hard time now. So we want to bring a little bit of heaven into their
Yeah.
lives.
Healing too, right? I mean, that's the whole
Absolutely.
purpose of the medicine singers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did a medicine song for him. The Daybreak actually on the album. I mean, that's a medicine song. You
Yeah.
and I played that. And they loved it.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of medicine, and these, the group is called Medicine Singers, and the songs are, stymed in traditional native music. Um, the idea of music being medicine, being used as medicine to heal.
Yep,
Um, I mean, obviously I think that's something that you've considered and but is that like traditionally speaking, like is that what the music is for?
it is. I mean, it's for ceremony, it's for healing, and a lot of times, like we show up at funerals for elders and things, or
Hmm.
whoever's passed, or sometimes we're at a wedding. We're doing drumming for a wedding and everything. So it's like we can, just about drum for anything, and those are all traditional things that we do, for people, and
Mm,
we don't charge people for that. We just go in and do it. It's like it's our responsibility for for our tribal people. When their elders pass, they wanna hear that drum, and the drum, it grounds people. It makes them feel good when you're hearing that drumming noise. It's like,
sure. Yeah, that's what I experienced. I mean, like it was just transfixing, you know? I mean, like there was no way that we were gonna like walk away from that,
right,
you know?
right, and that's kind of what we want. We want to put people in that place where they're like, I'm so comfortable, I don't want to get up. You
Right.
know, I'm
Yeah.
so in tune to this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit here. And I mean, most of our shows, that's what happens is people are just in a trance. I mean, I was a curator for 2 years for PVD, 2018 and 2019 before COVID. And 2019, I brought medicine singers, the whole group, to PVD, and we
Mhm.
were we were the last show on my stage, and I mean there was like 7,000 people there. I
Oh
mean
yeah.
it was just massive, and people, they weren't leaving. I mean they were like lots, and we were playing those songs. We played Sunset, Rumble, you know, Daybreak, all those songs. And Jonathan was there. He was cranking out that guitar, and Chris and the drummers, and I mean, and just an amazing. We had an amazing stage there. I had Lee Mangano, the one I told you about that does the drum line. I had him there with his children, so the children played with us. And then we had Blackout Drummers. I don't know if you're familiar with them. That's a
No.
black drum line. They're the best in Rhode Island. They come in, and it was like fanfare. So we
Hmm.
had we had like, no word of lie, we had 50 drums going at once,
Wow.
and I mean it was powerful.
I bet.
And the
Yeah.
mayor came down to me after, because the mayor is native too, Mayor Olaza.
Oh yeah.
He's a South American native,
Okay.
and we made a stick for him so he could play with us. But he had something he had to do. He couldn't play with us. He was mad, and because
Missed opportunity. Yeah.
he's played with us on occasion, you know,
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff. So yeah, so it was all about the unity and everything. But yeah, I mean, people would just, some of the people came up to me, like, I was in a trance, I couldn't move, I was just like, mesmerized by the music, and that's kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to
Yeah.
put people in that position where they leave the misery for a few minutes and they get the medicine, you know,
Right. Yeah. It's
they
so
get the
beautiful,
medicine.
so powerful. I mean, it's
Uh,
really, really
as,
amazing.
as we say, woony mosquito. Woony mosquito means good medicine,
Oh, okay.
you
Nice.
know,
Uni mosquito.
woony mosquito.
Cool. I might be able to remember that. That's actually
Yeah, yeah, it's not hard. That's not a hard one.
Uni mosquito. So, Daryl, I'm sorry. So I was asking you prior, we kind of got a little bit off topic, but I mean, so when I speak with somebody here, it's typically about an album that was an influence to them. Is there something that you can say is an influence to your art? I mean, because it's based in the tradition, so I don't know like what the connection could be there, or at least like what music speaks to you personally.
I I like a wide range of music, but my absolute favorite music has always been and always will be the R&B blues type music. You know,
Okay.
it just moves me. I when I hear it, I get happy. It's like, a warm feeling all over. And I think the sound of, because that all that music stems from the drum. If you really think
Sure.
about it, because the drums, the heavy bass percussion that keeps rocking and everything. And when you hear, some of the music today and everything, it's the same thing. It's got that heavy drum overtone, boom, 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 boom,
Right. Yeah.
and then the bass, those low waves that are driving everything. And that's kind of the music that really makes people, like, go crazy. that
Yeah.
heavy beat. So, the
Right.
blues was like when I was a kid, my father used to play, Muddy Waters and
Hmm.
Howling Wolf and BB King and everything. And I mean, I even like Louis Armstrong and stuff. And I used to do an impersonation of Louis Armstrong, and you couldn't tell the difference. Some of them, yeah, some of my friends used to say,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and all that music, I mean, that's kind of stymed from tradition, from traditional native
yeah,
music, right? I mean, like the
yeah.
blues. I watched that Rumble documentary. That's actually kind of that was the coincidence was that I watched that documentary and then stumbled upon Medicine Singers. I was just like, this is crazy. Like how perfect it was to for me to kind of get that mindset in my brain and then all of a sudden see this music. It was just like, holy crap, this is so wild.
It is, isn't it? I mean, and we, that particular song, we knew Link Ray was native and everything, and Jonathan was the one. He's like, "Oh, you gotta like this song," and I was like, "Okay, let's hear it," And so we
Hmm.
get a song, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, we can do something with that," and then we came up with that old Algonquin round dance song, "Yo way high, yo way high." So it's like a chant in the middle
Yeah.
of Rumble, and I think it really adds to it because it's like Rumble was an instrumental. So now you got this native chant with it that's kind of rhythmic and it's got that nice bass overtone to it, but it's also a harmonic sound that goes
Right.
with Rumble. So it's like, you know, yeah, that music drives you to create stuff like that, and
Right.
I think,
Right.
Link Ray, he was a mastermind of the guitar. He had a particular style, and that style appealed to me, you know,
Hmm.
because it was like dun dun dun. Well, that's like the drum, bum bum bum. You can hear it. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah.
I heard that music and it got in me and everything, and I'm like, oh yeah, we can do something with this, We did, and
Wild.
we just kept doing it. I mean, we haven't even introduced inkling of our songs that we have to do this to. And it's coming. We're going to be doing some more.
Oh, okay.
Definitely going to be a Medicine Singers 2, 3, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Just keep on going with it,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. And
Great.
it's not our only collab. I mean, we've worked with the Blackstone River Theater, and we perform there and things, and we open up for their summer solstice every year in June. And the nice thing about that is they have all these clinics with fiddlers and everything, and we'll jump in and we'll go play with these guys. You
Hmm.
know, so we're
Yeah.
playing with Irish music and stuff, and then after the event, there's like an open K-Lay, they call it, and we all come together, all the musicians from all over, and we get in a circle and we all play, and it's amazing, but um, it's influential because where you're going to get this. You get somebody from Norway and they're playing, with Native Americans. One guy was like,
Right.
I never even seen one. He was from Scotland or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and so we have all these people, playing with us. And I took one of my friends who's in a band called Runa. She's a beautiful Irish girl, Irish, nice Irish traditional voice. And I taught her that song Daybreak. And we shocked everybody this year because when we did that Kaylee, I brought her up and we sang it together,
Hmm.
drummed
Okay.
it. So people were like shocked, wow.
Yeah.
And it was just, I wanted to show people, our music is great. We can do anything that
Right.
anybody else can do and more.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's two things about that. First of all, is of course, based on the Rumble documentary that I watched. I mean, that's where all popular music is coming from, essentially, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
and also from what I understand a little bit about traditional music from different regions. See, so for me, I'm South American. I'm from Bolivia,
Yeah.
so our native people were essentially from the Incan
Right.
people, and
Right.
so their music is Andean folklore, I guess. And so I've heard some of that music.
Yep.
and obviously the American Native. There's different tribes from different areas around the country, and then even like traditional like folklore from Ireland, like the
Right.
Irish. I remember I've heard some of that stuff, and then like the Celtic music,
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's all kind of. First of all, it's all based around the drum.
it
All
is.
of those have drums in them, and those are
Yep.
that's the primary focus, and
Yep.
it's kind of similar. Like all of them have a similarity to them.
Yeah, they do. They do. And it's like, I think we bring it out. You know what I mean? That's the kind of
Yeah.
what we've been doing over the years. I mean, we play with a group called Kudu, which they do a combination of wild Celt music and Viking. You know,
Hmm.
and we cut a CD together. It was called Warpipe. I mean, and it was a cell phone CD, but I mean, the thing sold out. I mean, people were just buying it like crazy from
Hmm.
them and from us, and it was just like the beats, the chants in between, the warrior drums that they had, and then they were using the bagpipes and stuff. I mean, it was crazy, you know.
I bet. Yeah. That's something. It's something about like traditional music, like, stuff that's stemmed from the ancient, like kind of folkloric type of music that I think everyone can kind of relate to because, if anyone is looking into their own history, into their own ancestry, they're going to find something like that and it's going to speak to that kind of like primal urge inside of you.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
So, and then you melding all of these different cultures together based on
yeah,
the music is a beautiful thing,
yeah. I
having all of
mean,
them.
we love it. I mean, we played a piece. We had a native brother from out west. He came in and stuff. He wanted us to do a piece with him for his final thesis for his master's degree.
Hmm.
And he was at he was part of the Boston Conservancy Orchestra. So he wrote up a piece, and we played it with the Boston Conservancy Orchestra. That was back in 2013, maybe 2014, and we had an audience. I mean, they loved it. I mean, it was just a great, you know, uh, collaboration together and stuff. Orchestra and a Native American drum, and
Yeah.
we were doing chants, not real a lot of language singing, but chants and everything, and that was beautiful.
Yeah. I'm sure it was. A couple more things I wanted to ask you about. So you were mentioning a little bit about your background. Like I was asking about like kind of what music you really kind of looked to or influenced you as growing up and so forth. But I think you said something about how you were being taught the more traditional aspects of your native your culture, right? And so you didn't grow up like with that. It wasn't something that you were kind of being taught like since from a young child.
No, I mean we my grandfather, and my grandmother, were native and stuff, and they always told us that we were. I mean, we did do some, you know, traditional things. And my father, when we were little, he brought us to this specific powwow that were friends of our family every year. So we used to go there and hear the drums and dance, uh,
Hmm.
and stuff. And then of course we went up to the Mohawk Trail to some of the powwows they had up there as well. So I mean, me and my brothers were around, around that. But we didn't grow up on the reservation or anything and
Hmm.
stuff. But it's in us.
Sure, of course it is.
When
Yeah.
something's in you, that it's in you. You know what I mean? You become a natural addict and stuff. And I think that's what happened to me. It was always in me, and then something just brought it out at the right time, and then bang. I mean, it just took off. Eastern medicine took off, and then medicine singers took off, and that was even a fluke too because we were down at South by Southwest playing traditional music, and we ran into Jonathan, and he wanted us to play with him. And at first, I told him no, and then
Yeah.
one of my guys, Ray Tuvok, he talked to me. He's like, "Come on, you're the mother of invention." So I said, "All right, we'll go play." So we went and we played with him in this venue down in Austin, and I was looking around, and it looked like some of the people were crying. And I said, "Hey guys, get the drum. We gotta get the heck out of here. They gotta kill us, right?" It looked
Yeah.
like people were upset, and so we left. And Jonathan came running out. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I go, "I don't think they liked it." He goes, "Like it." He goes, "They loved it." He goes, "You made people cry." I said, "I know.
Mm.
I didn't think they liked it." He goes, "They love it. Get back in here." So we went back and set up the drum, and we played the rest of the set with them. You know, and
Wow.
people were just, flipping out. They loved it, and it was just a spontaneous, thing of the moment, and it went over well.
Right. Yeah.
It
Now,
was a
so
big
so
hit, actually. Even South by Southwest listed as one of the newest best acts of 29. I think it was 2018 or 2019. Yeah,
oh
2018.
yeah, yeah.
You
Cool.
know,
So you didn't know Jonathan prior to that?
never heard of him, never met him. It was
Okay.
just it was just something that just happened. It was an organic thing that just
Right,
he
right.
came out. He's like, "Hey, these guys," he said, these guys got talent, and then we tried something together, and it worked. And then
Yeah.
we did a couple of things, and then we did that. I don't know if you saw the first CD we did in the snow.
The video you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes, I did see that.
And after we did that video, we posted it. That was it. I mean, it just started getting crazy, and we went out to do a show in California, Desert Days and
Mm.
stuff. And we got interviewed by the Rolling Stone, and it was like magic. It was a good show.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
what
after
was
that,
your
we went to Europe. You know,
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't realize like how long you guys have been together. Like, cause I mean, from what I from what I understand, this is the first record.
it is. It is.
And it's on Joyful Noise, which is a pretty great label. I've been hearing a lot more about them and actually been buying a lot of their records lately.
Yeah, they have some
Um,
really great stuff. You know, and
yeah, yeah.
Joyful Noise kind of teamed up with Stone Tapes.
Right. That's Jonathan's thing,
Yep.
right? His label.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Jonathan's label. So they worked together and stuff, and got this album out there, and they did a great job promoting it and everything, and you
Oh,
know,
it looks great. It sounds awesome. I mean,
yeah,
it's a really beautiful production. It's definitely worth checking out. If I don't know how many vinyl copies they still have left, but they were
yeah,
doing CD and digital anyway. So I mean, anyone can get it. It's fine.
yeah. Nothing like an album, though.
I'm a
Having the
big
vinyl.
I'm a big vinyl proponent, obviously. So I mean, I had to get it. I ordered this as soon as it was available because
Wow.
when I saw you, and I guess it was the summer of 2022,
Yeah,
you had the CDs there, but I was just like, I'm gonna go look for the vinyl.
yeah, yeah. I think that came out in like August or something,
It did. I had to pre-order it.
October. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They're selling. Music's selling. You know,
good. That's great.
I'm happy
So
they're playing it on the radios, and you know,
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good label. They're gonna push it no matter what. I'm sure of it. Um, so now back about Jonathan and your first meeting with him. What was your impression of him at the time?
I thought he was a weirdo at first. He was just sitting there watching me, and I'm like, "Who's this guy?" What I mean? I'm
Right,
hardcore. He was this guy looking at us, and
right.
stuff. And then he got up and he came back and he's looking and everything. I bumped one of the guys as we were playing, and I'm like, "Hey, he's back. He's still watching us." And then he took off, and that's when, after that he approached Ray Two Hawks, and Ray's like, come on, and I was like, nah, I'm not going. Not
Right,
doing
right.
this. And then, he came back and he's like, come on, man, you always, doing crazy stuff. Are you gonna let this opportunity go by? And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did it, and I wasn't sure how people took it because it's a clashing of traditional music with rock, and some people may not like it. Some people.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing that I had. I mean, like, I'll tell you this story and excuse me if I sound like I'm ignorant about the thing, but like I was saying, I saw the Rumble documentary prior to seeing you guys.
Yeah,
So I already had this thing in my mind. I already had this like, kind of preconception of just like, oh, well, here's the a perfect example of Native American culture being propagated by the white man essentially,
Yep.
and mainstream music gets essentially turned into the blues and jazz and everything that we know about modern music today, and no mention of the native people and their traditions whatsoever. And so I was kind of a little bit, it's like, okay, well, here we go again. Here we got these guys that are taking this native music and changing it into like a rock band essentially.
Yeah.
Which, I
Yeah.
mean, how does that make you feel? I mean, I think that you're okay with it because obviously, from what I'm learning, is that it's not essentially perfectly traditional music. You are taking the elements and creating something different.
Right. Right. We are, and but it's still based on the traditional sounds and everything.
Right.
And I think when you're talking about the language, it's a dying language. Maybe 10 people in the world speak it.
Right.
So I think in order of necessity to promote that language is still there and that our people still have it, um, by any means necessary to get it out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I say that meaning because whatever it takes to get our language and our people out in mainstream media, I think is important. You know,
Right.
they never have the it's not like you can be on somebody else's label and not go anywhere. But when you put this together and you bring out the music and the beauty and the art of it, because it is an art,
Mm-hmm.
and the language, and then you mix it with the rock. I mean, the rock is really not the focus on it. The focus really is the drum,
Right.
because the drum is like paramount in that. Without that drum, it would just be somebody playing rock music. But
Right.
with that drum and the language and everything, it turns it into a whole nother venue. It's like, wow, this is something that these guys created, and it still has all the undertones of the native people, and native people are singing it, and they're out there in traditional regalia.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I think it's a lot different than just saying, we let the rock people come in and turn it into a rock thing because we made rock, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're kind of like taking the power back, it seems.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
And we made the rock, so why not capitalize on what we created? You know.
Sure, but also kind of being able to bring attention back to tradition and
Exactly.
the culture.
Exactly.
So no, it's wonderful. I mean, I was like at the very moment that day, I kind of was conflicted, but I mean, I bought the record. I think the music's wonderful. I really do.
Thank you.
So it's not. I think it's doing what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any like native people that are opposed to it?
There may be some. I mean, I
You're
haven't
not
really
seeing it.
had I haven't had any kickback on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I was on Indian Country today, and they loved it. And that would have been the place that if there was a lot of kickback on it, it would have been, because
Hmm.
Indian Country today's the newspaper, the news of you know 500 nations in the United States. So if somebody was going to pick it apart, I would think that was where it would have been. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that everybody likes it. There are probably some traditional people that may not, but
Right.
there's also a lot of other uh, of the younger generation out there doing different things. Like, you take a tribe called Red, now called the Hallucination.
Hmm.
They're doing stuff. We got Cody Coyote doing rap out there, and there's a lot of other native people that are doing really cool stuff and bringing the native music into it. So I think that's going to be the wave of the future. You know,
Yeah.
is bringing that out and bringing it to other venues. The rap, the R&B, the
Right.
blues. But ours is still sticking to the basic powwow beat and the song and the language. That's the main attraction of medicine singers,
Right. Yeah, and you were saying how like there's not many people that possibly know how to speak that language or understand it. Um, if you could translate it, I mean, do you think that that would be something that would be interesting to like actually translate it to a more common language today, like English or even Spanish or French or something that's kind of just more one of the Romance languages?
You mean,
And would the meaning be the same, do you think? Or
no, it wouldn't be the same. You need that sound of the language. I mean,
yeah.
like you know, like Daybreak. Take Daybreak. Montop and Mooney, Kisa Woniga. You
Hmm.
know, when I sing it in that language, it brings a whole different meaning than when if I was to say it in English, you know, good
Right.
morning, it's a beautiful day. It's not the same ring as what I'm giving you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You
See,
know what I
I
mean?
didn't know what those words meant, but
Yeah.
okay.
And so when you look at the video, we put the words up so that people know what it means. We actually translate, you know. And
Oh,
so
okay.
that's the beauty of that song, the Daybreak song. And in it, you know, is a bunch of language and people now know what we're talking about, you know. But
Yeah.
you can't make it the same sound with the English language as you can with with my tongue, you know.
Right.
Animal, Winchini, Umana, Chad, Quay, Quay, oh, and it's not going to sound the same if I say it in English. It's
Right. Right.
take the
Okay.
song out of context, you
It's
know.
true. True. I get it. Okay. Um, so now again about your meeting with Jonathan, you didn't know about his band Monotonics. You never heard them before.
Never heard of
And I mean, I know that you like the classic rock and blues, R&B, stuff like that. But I mean, what about the crazy rock and roll that some of the people that you were working with on this project are from? I mean, like, were you familiar with any of these people and their background?
no, nope,
None of them whatsoever.
none of them. We just
Like Iku Mori, she was from DNA,
nope,
which is like a no wave New York band. Like,
never heard of them.
so what was that like for you to be in this world with these people because they're like they're influential people. Thor Harris and I forget his name,
Yeah,
Michael Spradovich. What is his
yeah,
name?
yeah, yeah. Oh, Chris.
Chris
Yeah,
from Swans.
yeah, Swans. Yeah,
Dude,
I
those.
heard of Swans. You know,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, and so they met me and I met them, and I was like, you guys are cool people. You know,
Right.
you're cool people and stuff like that. And I said, I like you. You know what I mean? And because I like you, I'm gonna let you play my music.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Well,
if I don't like,
I
I'm a
mean, they're
warrior,
talented, right? They're talented people. They definitely bring
right?
something to it. But I
Yeah,
mean, just being in this weird realm. I mean, like I don't know if like did you like you didn't understand what that was when it's like these group of people coming to work on this project with you.
no, I had no idea who they were. I mean, Jonathan told me. I mean, Jamie Branch. I mean, hit it off with her. We went to go play a show in New York. And
Mhm.
I said, what do you play? She goes, oh, I play the trumpet. And I'm like, oh, I love the trumpet. Let's rock this place. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
we went in to this club and it was packed. And she blew the horn at the right time and everything. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. When you're a musician and you can walk in and not know a soul, nobody, never played with them before, and you can
right.
turn a whole audience out, you're good.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I mean you have killers on this record.
Yeah,
They're
and it's
killers.
yeah, we got and Thor. I met Thor in we were down in San Antonio, and he had I said, hey, you know what? I already like you, man, because you one of my favorite cartoon heroes, Thor. And then you got a hammer here. You're playing it with these mallets and everything, and I'm like, let me hear it. And he's playing it. I'm like, wow, that's gonna
Yeah,
work. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And so we
Thor,
were getting down. So Thor was right behind me. I'm the lead singer and stuff and the drummer. And I'm looking back at him. I'm putting my drumstick up on him and everything, and we're crossing and everything, and we're getting the vibe, getting going. And because we had that mutual like coolness together, the music was even better, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And
No.
we just made it happen. You know what I mean? It was like there's no right. You can go out, you can compose and do everything and stuff like that, and that a lot of musicians that do that, they're just awesome. But we're a different kind of musician. You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah, no,
that
you
musician
have your
comes,
own thing for sure. And I think that the every all those musicians probably knew that going into it, obviously. And
yeah,
they knew to be not only like respectful but creative, like they knew what to do because
yeah,
they knew to take it and be respectful to the work,
yep,
and but to add their little bit of flair that is kind of
exactly,
like what they are known for.
yep,
And yeah, it turned out to be a really great record. So
yeah, yeah. I'm very happy with the record. You know what I mean? And like when we put, when we all played together and everything, my whole thing is, look, if people are comfortable, they're gonna make good music. I tell them, like, I don't care what you do as long as it sounds good, and
mhm.
we're all rocking and we're in harmony. I don't care. You know what I mean? Because I know if we do that, it's gonna be bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're really gonna tear it up and stuff.
right.
And I remember when we went to we played in Ottawa at the Ottawa Jazz and Blues Festival, and we were supposed to be on this small stage, but when they got there, uh, they said, "Oh no, you guys, we can't put you on that stage. We got another stage for you." So I went over to the stage and checked it out, and it was huge. And I said, "Well, this is a pretty big venue here." They're like, "Yeah, yeah, we're packing it in. You guys are opening for Logic, the rapper, you know."
Oh yeah.
And I was
Whoa.
like, "Oh, okay, Logic. I don't know who he is. I don't care. But he sounds cool. I like
Yeah.
his name." So we went down, and the other guys, we were all together because we had this big, long 38-foot trailer, and we were all hanging out, eating and stuff and everything. And the other natives across from us, we ran into when we met. One of them was Cody Coyote, and he was up from northern Canada and everything. He goes, you guys are opening for Logic, man. You're gonna have a big audience." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah, yeah." So we're all hanging out together and having a good time and everything. And we're sitting back. They set up hammocks for us and fires, and it was just one big party, you know.
Hmm.
And we
Cool.
got up on that stage. I got up on that stage, and I'm like, "How many people are out there?" They're like, "Oh, about 15,000."
Wow.
So, when I saw that, I was me and Jonathan were last man out. We came from different corners and we crisscrossed. I started screaming, you know what I mean? And people were really getting revved up by that time
Yeah.
because the other guys came out and they're just warming up. And Jonathan and I come out and we started, just going off. And we played that song Rumble. And
Wow.
they were just screaming, you know.
That's
And we
great.
we, we rocked the house, man. It was a great show.
Cool,
Great show,
man.
and it's a good feeling, you
I
know.
bet. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, well deserved. I mean, you guys are making some great stuff, great music, and yeah, definitely showman too. I can tell. Like, I mean, I didn't get to see you in a big environment, like with a massive crowd, but I'm sure next time I do, I will.
Yeah, yeah, oh, definitely. Hopefully, we'll play at PVD again this year
Yeah.
if
Okay.
everything works out.
Yeah. I mean, if not, something's gonna happen. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have some shows around here, definitely.
All right. Hey, there's one more thing I'd like to ask you before I wrap this up. I was kind of like watching that doc again, kind of refamiliarizing myself with it, and there's very strong kind of feeling about the different types of native people and all the different types of music that they have all kind of gone on to make. And me being a you know not I'm not a foreign person. My family was. I'm first generation, but the heritage is there. And so I was curious. I mean, do you think that like people's heritage have an influence over like what they make, even if it's subconsciously, even if they didn't know like what kind of heritage and what kind of lines they came from?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you are what you feel. You know what I mean? And I think
Right.
it's your blood that, your blood and your, your ancestors before, they were all in you. So, it's going to come out, and it may take something to bring it out at some point. I mean, being native and stuff, and also, my father's family was Scottish as well,
Hmm. Okay.
and you know, when I hear that music too, I feel something with that music too. And the last couple of years, I was up at the Scottish Highland Games up in Loon Mountain, New Hampshire, and
Hmm.
one of the Scottish bands, Saya, they asked me if I had my drum with me, and I said, yeah, it's down in my truck. I'd have to run down and go grab your drum, you know. So I grabbed my drum. I came back up, and they're like, "We're gonna have you play with us on the on the main stage." So, I grabbed my drum. I got up there, and just like I was born into it. I started playing with those guys, and I mean, tremendous show. They're a fantastic band, and they play a high level, Scottish type um, music, not like the old style. It's more of the new style, but with the fiddles, the jigs, and everything else like that. And for me to be able to go up there and play with them and turn it out with those guys, it was like I just felt it and I loved it, and I had a great, what I mean, a great time.
Hmm.
And I think that's the whole idea, is that your blood determines what you do. Just like you, I mean, you probably got it in you too. You're a musician too as well, right?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of favoring the drums currently more
Yeah,
so than anything, but I have been a bass player, since I was like 15. But
yeah,
and Latin, I mean, I remember doing a lot of Latin music when I was a teenager growing up, mixing that in with the rock music that my brothers and I were kind of, fond of.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I never really thought about it, but I think that it's true. I mean, like I guess I think about some of the music that I like and some of the performers that I like, and I think about how, you know, like um like they just have this knack for creating something like even rhythmically they have something kind of like rhythmically built into like what they do. What I
yeah.
don't understand is that I'm a big noise rock fan, and
Yeah.
I don't know where those guys get what what they do. Like because their stuff isn't tied into like tradition at all. Like
Right, 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 right.
but
But you got the bass is the drum, really. It's like the bass drum. It's got that
right. Yeah,
that
yeah.
punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, I mean, and like, I mean, the Latin music in particular, I mean, definitely I can kind of see a connection to like the Andean folklore music that my parents liked a lot. They didn't grow up with it necessarily, but they definitely appreciated it and definitely turned us on to it as kids.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I can see that connection. That's pretty clear. But then like if I think about your average American person, whatever their background may be, and obviously we're a melting pot, so there's so many different nationalities and so much different tradition and heritage in our country alone.
yeah.
It's like you can grab anybody and God knows what their heritage might be, really.
Right. And what they're gonna do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, I had a show I started in 2017. It was called The Drums and Music of the Americas, North and South. And I had Latin drummers. I had African drummers, us. I had Irish, Celtic drummers, and banjos and everything else like that. And I did. I wasn't gonna do it, but one of my tribal chiefs, he's since passed away, Kenny Lyon, who was a great blues guy. He called me up to do an old blues song by Muddy Waters, and I started singing, and he started playing with his son. And the next thing I know, I look over, there's Carlos de Leon. I don't know if you know him. He's a
Sounds
great,
familiar.
great Latin player. I mean, he's played with Tito Puente,
Oh, okay. Wow.
and he jumps in with his horn and everything, and we do this blues riff together. I mean, it's on Facebook. I didn't record it. Somebody recorded it while we were doing it, and it was like magic. You know, it
Yeah.
was like magic, and I mean, we had the best time ever. You know. And
Right.
again, it's just it's in you. It's either in you or it's not. Everybody can't be a musician, you know.
Right.
But the
Right.
ones that are, the special ones, it's inside them,
Right. Right.
just
And like
waiting to
what
come.
and like what they do is kind of like in their DNA.
Yeah,
Like how they do this, the like what it is that they do.
yep,
Hmm.
exactly. Now,
Interesting.
what kind of drums do you play? You play the congos,
Oh no, no, I just do like rock and roll drums. Like,
rock and roll
like a
drums?
kit.
Yeah,
Yeah, drum kit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool.
I mean, I
Yep.
got my son a set of bongos for his birthday last year, but I don't really ever play them. I mean, I can, but I just don't
You know,
really.
huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like I'm a more modern American kid, really. It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm into rock music, so
yeah, yeah,
um I don't really dabble with that. I mean, I can do it. Like I have the understanding of like Latin music and kind of Latin rhythm,
yeah.
but I mean, I just don't have an application for it because I don't play with any Latin music people.
Right, right, right,
So
right.
I don't know.
Until now.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, well, or I incorporate it. If I play with some, rock and roll people, I bring in a little bit of that Latin feel to it,
Yeah, yeah. Like right now I'm working on a project with a couple of friends of mine and a couple of the medicine singers, and we're doing a thing I'm calling ancient sounds. And I have a guy with the gouda, uh, and the flute, and then drumming and chanting. And we're
Yeah.
bringing in that like ancient sound. We may bring in a horn too to
Huh.
give it a little more depth and background into it. But we've been doing it. We were doing did one session so far, and it was cool. It
Cool,
was
man.
it's a
Sounds
new
tight.
yeah. It is. It is. It's a new thing that I just came up with. We're messing around. We'll see what happens. You may see
Yeah.
us jump out and do a couple of different songs this year. You never know.
Yeah. Cool, man. That sounds great. I mean,
Yeah.
just keep at it, keep working on it, keep on creating all this crazy music. I love it.
Yeah. Me too, man.
Well, Daryl, I just have to say, it's been an honor speaking with you. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you. It was an
You
honor
made it. You
speaking
made a
with you.
wonderful record. Joyful Noise Records, Stone Tapes
Yep.
is Jonathan's label, and it's out available now. And I recommend everybody go listen to it at least
Couple hundred times.
as many times as possible,
Exactly.
and then buy it too. On top
Yes,
of
buy
that,
it. You gotta buy it.
so
Keep us in
yeah,
business.
I don't think you have any plans for touring or anything as of the moment, right?
Yeah, I just something came in the other day in August. We're going back up to Canada, as far as I know, and uh, of course we're going to do our usual. We always Eastern Medicine always plays at Mystic Seaport, so we'll be
Oh,
back down there. Yeah,
when's that happening?
that I just got that in. I think it's the beginning of June. I'll let you know.
Yes, please do. That'd be
That'll be
awesome.
more of a traditional show with dancing and stuff.
That's okay. I can
Yeah,
dig that. Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Very cool, Daryl. Hey, well, thank you very much. Best of luck to you.
All right, thank you, brother. You have a great night.
Vinyl and Vision is a Psychic Static production. Theme song written and performed by Jeff Robbins of 123 Astronaut.